Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about embracing your niche, which is something that I'm very slowly coming to terms with for my own personal musical journey. I'm starting to realize that even though I do like ambient and jazz and all these other kind of genres of music, I think primarily a lot of my music focuses on like the experimental genre. Like that's kind of where I sit a lot of the time. And I used to think that like the experimental music stuff was just like really out there, like unlistenable kind of music. Like somebody like running fart sounds through a delay pedal while rubbing acorns in their beard or something. And it's just like, that's not exactly how it is. Experimental music is just experimenting with the format of music and trying new and different things. And I definitely dip my toe into that quite frequently. And even though my stuff is maybe a little bit more accessible than some of the more hardcore experimental music out there, I think that I should really be focusing my efforts more on kind of just exploring and figuring out that whole genre, because by and large, it's been a genre that I kind of avoid most of the time because I feel that it's like not for me, and I think that it really is for me. I just need to kind of embrace it a little bit better. So that's kind of something that I've been thinking about lately. Because I think that I could get a lot of inspiration from this genre that I've been basically avoiding just because I didn't feel like it was something that was something that I would enjoy listening to. And I think there's a lot to be said about that, just as a musician, where it's just or as an artist, where it's just you feel like you know what you're doing and you have like this direction that you're going. But I think that, sometimes it's important to take a step back and maybe push your boundaries a little bit in a lot of different directions and maybe kind of explore different ways of approaching the work that you do. And you might discover something new about yourself and the work that you do. Because I was really kind of surprised when I came to this realization a day or two ago, where I was just like, wait a minute, a lot of the stuff that I do that I enjoy doing is pretty experimental and not exactly traditional contemporary music. And there's other bands out there. Like I would very much say that Radiohead is like experimental pop music, which I don't think many people would contest, where like a lot of what they do is focused on kind of pushing various boundaries of not only like the musicality of their work, but also like the boundaries of what constitutes like pop music. And I think that it's really important to kind of understand that, because I love Radiohead. I think that it's just really important to kind of just approach your work in various ways, and hopefully you can find some inspiration in art that you would otherwise avoid. And I think this is going to be like a big thing for me over the next couple months, where I kind of figure out what works for me. So like, am I like experimental ambient, or am I like experimental whatever? Is this like another genre to add to my tool belt, or is this something that really kind of defines who I am? And I'm not really sure yet. This is kind of a journey that I'm starting. And I think that it'll do good for me, because I keep trying to do like electronic music and dance music and stuff, and I love the idea. I love listening to it, but I have a really hard time with the sound design stuff, and that might be a host of limitations that I am up against a lot of the time. But it's something where I can sit down and make weird noises that sound good, like that brings me a lot of joy. And I think that I should work on embracing that more than trying to force myself into a perspective where I'm making music that I like listening to, but I don't enjoy making. I would rather make stuff that I enjoy making and enjoy listening to. So I think that that's kind of something that I need to focus more on, because when I describe myself as a musician, I say that I do like ambient and jazz and down tempo stuff, which is all true, but it's all kind of through this oeuvre of experimentation and trying new things. And I've been kind of doing this incubator group with Twitch, and they kind of pulled in a bunch of musicians, and they're basically just trying to lift up a bunch of people. And I'm very flattered that they chose me, but like everybody else there are, first of all, they're more successful than me. They have like tons of followers, and they have like a more consistent viewership. But like when the host said, "Hey, everybody, like shout out your favorite bands and stuff," people are just like, "Oh, Madonna, Sting," and like all of these, like both classics and more modern, like all pop music though. And it's just like I'm sitting here being like, "Oh, Jim's Big Ego," and it's like all of these bands that nobody's ever heard before. It's like, oh man, I don't know if I belong here. But that's okay. I think that it's really important. It's just like one of those moments for me where I was just like, wait a minute, am I approaching my approach? Like how am I approaching writing music? And is it through this lens of trying to make something accessible or trying to make something experimental? And there's definitely an overlap in that Venn diagram, but I think I want to try to be a little bit more experimental with the work that I do, because I know that I can make great ambient music and great down tempo and chill out stuff, but I really enjoy doing that through the lens of experimentation instead of just doing the same 4 chords and like changing around the instrumentation, or, you know, having a very basic, instrumentation for a song and then just having beautiful vocals. Like I would love to do all of those things at some point, but I feel like I should embrace what I am good at right now, and then just keep trying to add those on instead of just forcing myself into doing these very particular styles of music. Just because I feel like I want to, because I want to be better at I want to be better at EDM because I like listening to EDM, and I should be able to do it and I can't. And that's like, it's very frustrating for me. So I'm trying to figure out like how to do that. So it's a very long rambly thing about all that. So I hope that like this might give you a little bit more perspective on like how you can approach your own work. Like you can kind of look at it from different angles and maybe take a couple steps back from your process and be like, you know, what brings me joy when I do make stuff? And you might learn a couple things about that. I've definitely, over on the Discord, I've seen people post their art over the past couple years, and just seeing how it evolves and grows. People finding their niche and enjoying being in that. So that's all I've got for today. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really genuinely do appreciate it. I hope that you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you in the next one. Be remarkable.